What's up, old school homies? Let's talk about what was Doug's rock collecting style. Definitely had a style all of his own, so I'm just gonna bring up some of the weird things that I saw Doug do as a rock collector. Everything he did was pretty weird. He really wasn't like some crystal healer dude or anything like that. He would listen to the customers when they would talk about stuff like that because it was like more marketing that he could use later on. So eventually he did build up his knowledge of all of that, and um, he had people come in and do their crystal healing stuff or whatever for, you know, people that wanted to have like an assembly for that sort of thing. He would have like a regular crystal healer come by and hang out with the rocks. It's mainly who the customers were, you know. It's not really who Doug was, but that's who the customer was. So he had to sort of mold his way into understanding what they wanted to buy. Being a store, I noticed Doug's main style was to diversify and just go wider and wider with it. And one day I asked him, like, how many different types of categories of rock collecting are you going to try to do, you know? And he says, well, there's customers for each and every one of these niches, so you can't just choose one of the niches. You have to like all of it: beads, specimens, polished rocks, tumbled stones, geodes, cabochons, um, more of the archaeology type of stuff like shark teeth and maybe arrowheads didn't really sell as good on the West Coast. I heard that East Coasters really get more into that because we really don't have very many. And he had a few from the East Coast, but yeah, Indian artifacts and stuff don't sell very good over here. Not that he had a bunch, but you know, occasionally somebody would bring in something like that. Doug's style also wandered into different sizes of rock, and something that took me a while to learn. He went too far with everything, of course, you know, that's just Doug's way. Always a little bit too far with everything. I remember he had this actinolite. It was probably like this big. Yeah. I said, how did you collect an actinolite that big? It was thousands and thousands of actinolites in big old crystal form, all molded together. Oh, wow. And he said it required 2x4s and a U-Haul. I don't know how that got in there. Him and some friends. Omar actually helped him get it in there. I don't think he wanted to do that again. Yeah, going towards larger and larger stones was something I learned from him, and something a lot of rock collectors neglect. Over time, you've collected small rocks, you've collected medium rocks, and then you see other people with larger specimens, right? And then you start to think about it, like, how come I don't have any? I kind of want to go towards that. And then one day, Doug said, "We're gonna go out to this shop way out in Moreno Valley or farther, and we're gonna get a rock the size of your car, and we're gonna put it right there, you know?" Like that fool, he just really wanted to go too far with everything. Now, as far as crystals and stuff, he knew more about those than I thought he would have. You know, anytime somebody brought in some weird type of crystal, because there's lots of crystals out there, he actually had already seen it a lot of times. Every time, pretty much. Um, he was kind of an agate digger. I would say he collected them mostly like Barstow, and his dad was basically stationed around Barstow, and he was in the army. And Doug's dad taught him how to rock collect. So they would tell me stories about going out to Calico and quartzite, and different places where there was rock gatherings and stuff, little flea markets. And Doug's dad actually encouraged him to start making his own company, which is super cool. You wouldn't have thought like the dad would have been so encouraging, but he gave him a part of his roofing yard to start Gems of Plenty, and it's basically this big giant lot in Pomona, and he opened up his rock shop in a section in the back over there. You would have had to know him to go there, but I knew him at that point, probably almost 20 years ago. And the shop was actually pretty big. It had like 3 or 4 different rooms. And we would go to shows and hang out, and we would do all kinds of different things to go. He didn't drive, so I would go and drive to go pick up all of the stones. And I won't give up too many of those secrets, but you would be surprised. Like, these were people that weren't very far away. They were just friends, you know. Everything was just a friends-based thing. And another friend and another friend and another friend. There was about 28 important friends that I can remember. 28 being the number that I think he gave me once. He would give me an oddball number like that. So, his style was to collect as a picker, okay? He would collect, at shows and stuff. He would go to these, like I said, we went to these rock shows, but he would buy from other vendors a small portion of what they have. It wasn't always about just going and buying a big amount of rocks. It was about choosing the right ones out of a lot and then leaving. And then doing it again and again. So everything you bought from his store was so handpicked. Like, so handpicked. Everything was just, I'll take one of those. And he'll see another vendor. I'll take one of those, So picky. I couldn't even believe how picky. And it was his butt on the line every time. He didn't have a lot of money. That was the money out of his pocket. So I learned more about how he dug into little, going too far,